You finally receive that crucial document, but when you try to print or copy text, the buttons are grayed out. It is natural to assume the file is protected by an impenetrable cryptographic wall that keeps the data heavily guarded. However, there is a specific behavior within the PDF format. If the file displays its contents without asking for a password, it isn't encrypted. The PDF format relies on two entirely different security mechanisms. The one causing this common headache is effectively a digital illusion. The first type of security is the open password. This lock demands an input key before a single page is rendered on your screen. This barrier acts before the file is opened, using mathematical cryptography to scramble the raw bytes of the document. Modern PDFs utilize algorithms like AES-256 for this process. Without the exact key, it is mathematically impossible for software to reconstruct the file's contents. The open password represents genuine, enforced security, where the data itself is physically unreadable until it is decrypted. Contrast this with the owner password. This is active when a file opens instantly, yet limits your ability to interact with the content. This mechanism contains a specific architectural quirk. The document decrypts its own content first, and only checks for permission rules after the pages are loaded. Inside the file's security dictionary sits a 32-bit integer called the P flag, which acts as a simple checklist of allowed behaviors. The logic is binary. A slot set to a 1 means an action is permitted, while a slot set to a 0 indicates a restriction. Specific actions are tied to specific bit slots. For example, bit 3 controls the ability to print, and bit 5 controls text copying. Because the content is already decrypted before this checklist is consulted, the P integer is essentially a polite request that your reader software chooses to obey. There is another reason you might be unable to highlight text, even when there are no passwords or software restrictions active. This happens through flattening, a process that often occurs by accident when a user compresses a file for easier emailing. This compression physically destroys the text layer. It converts readable digital characters into a static, flat grid of image pixels. Unlike a software restriction, rasterization is a permanent destruction of data. The text cannot be unlocked because the characters no longer exist as data. Since a document with an owner password is already decrypted, regaining access to restricted features is a matter of modifying the file's metadata. The Unlock PDF utility on MiniWebTool is designed to address this specific architectural quirk. This tool is used when a PDF opens freely, but prevents you from printing, copying, or adding comments to the pages. The utility scans the internal dictionary of the file, identifies the P integer and the owner password, and removes that specific block of code. It returns a readable file that no longer includes the request for your software to disable its own buttons. Resolving these restricted PDFs is simply a matter of using a tool to bypass a request that was never mathematically enforced. You can now distinguish between true mathematical encryption and a digital system that relies on software compliance. Subscribe to the MiniWebTool channel for more calculators, guides, and tools designed to solve complex digital hurdles.